The big kicker started again. It looks dangerous to me in third.
Youth. Arts. Culture.
Spectrum. Youth, Arts, Culture. Every Tuesdays, 11:50 a.m., bringing you current issues, tips, insights, and more. Only on Trax FM. Youth. Arts. Culture. Spectrum. Right now on Trax FM.
11:15 a.m. on the clock. Hey, good morning. It's Elle Zines with you. This is Trax Momentum. And of course, every Tuesday, we have Spectrum on Trax. And today, we're going to be talking about the voice of the future. As some of us may know, our Prime Minister recently announced that a youth leader will be appointed as a Dewan Negara Senator. So if you're a youth tuning in right now, and mind you that youth is actually categorized as age 18 to 40. So if you have any questions or comments on this, please head on over to our Facebook page at Trax FM Official. We're live right now, and our guest unfortunately cannot be with us in the studio today, but on the phone lines we have the president of Young Leaders, the government Varsity leadership icon. We have Mr. Lim San Shien. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, JL, for inviting. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yes, I think we last spoke as well, I think 2-3 months ago, right?
Yeah, election.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I understand that you are in Johor, right?
Yes.
All right. There we go. So, okay. So on the 16th of July 2022, recently, like I mentioned just now, our Prime Minister, Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, has said that a youth leader will be appointed as a Dewan Negara Senator. So what is the significance of this announcement?
Okay. First of all, I welcome this decision of the Prime Minister to announce that he's deciding to appoint a senator from the group of youth. So I think this is an important announcement that the government are officially hearing the opinions, appreciate the views, and also to embrace the opinions of the youth. Because they say that youth are the future leaders. But in order to build the future leaders, we have to start producing holistic youth leaders starting from right now. So when we slowly but surely, we can produce more leaders when we give them more exposure and platform for them to grow and for them to expand their knowledge and also to contribute to society building. And second of all, I think the significance of this announcement is that the government is showing the effort of officially acknowledge and recognize the sacred voices of the youth, which is the important voices of the youth, that what is their opinion, what is their ideas about nation building and also nation development. And third of all, I think the importance of the announcement is that the government is regarding youth as an important stakeholders in nation building, so that youth are regarded as an important stakeholder, so their voices, their opinion can be included in policy formulation, so to build a more holistic and comprehensive formula and also policy and laws in Malaysia.
Right.
And so I think that another important is that it's also important to provide a medium and platform for the youth to partake actively, formally in Senate, because Senate is known as the upper house also. So I think this is a way to enable youth to voice out the concern of the youth. So what is the concern of the youth these days? We can file, for example, I think in a lot of things, for example, like youth disillusionment, for example, in the global risk report shown by the World Economic Forum, maybe employment issue, food security issue, underemployment issue, and also perhaps some issue about their future, maybe uncertainty posed by the pandemic. And now we know that the monkeypox are also known as the global health emergency declared by the WHO. So there's a lot of issue happening these days, and how we can assist the youth. Not just assist, but we have to empower them. We have to uplift them for their better future. And also another one, I think, DDL is to enable the youth to gain more knowledge and exposure about policy making, about law-making process. Because as you know, for a bill to become a law, it has to go through both houses, which is the the Dewan Rakyat and also the Dewan Negara. So the Senate as the Dewan Negara also goes through the same process, the first reading, second reading, third reading, committee stage, etc. So if a youth is appointed as a senator, I think he can gain a good exposure to know more about policy and lawmaking. So this is a laudable decision and announcement, and we hope that it can be realized soon.
Right, exactly. And I think it's going to be a win-win for both sides. Like the youth can actually learn how it's worked, how our Dewan works and stuff like that. Like you mentioned, you can learn a lot of things. And I feel like, especially youth nowadays, we have a lot of like ideas and stuff like that. But yeah, in layman terms, right, what responsibilities would the new youth senator shoulder? Because you mentioned a lot just now how you can help out with, have a voice in like the recent monkeypox. You can go over some rules and stuff like that. But yeah, what responsibilities would the new youth senator shoulder?
Okay, thank you so much, DJ Els. So I would like to take a look at the Constitution. So as you can see in the Federal Constitution, Article 45, it's talking about the composition of the Senate. So it's referred to Article 45, Clause 2. It stated that the senators, the appointed senators, they should achieve some distinctions. For example, in the public service, in the profession, commerce, industry, agriculture, cultural, or social services, or representative of the racial minorities, or are capable of representing the interests of aborigines. So I think youth is also an important segment in the society, because I think there are millions of youth in Malaysia, and youth is indeed important. So what they can do for the youth is that the youth senator should include and also maximize youth participation in national agenda. For example, if the government is going to have a tower session, engagement session, like a sesi libat urus, so the youth senator should be calling upon the youth and also to promote the government activities, latest information to the youth, so they can aware of the opportunities, and also they can know what is the platform available for the youth in order to build a nation. So not to forget that actually we have a lot of platform for the youth. For example, like the Perdana Fellow, we have the National Youth Consultative Council, Majlis Perundingan Belia Negara, and so we even have the National Youth Day celebration, Majlis Hari Belia Negara, to recognize the role of the youth, and also the ability for the youth to vote at the age of 18. So I think a youth senator also shoulder the responsibility to encourage the youth to be more concerned about nation building, especially they can have the right to vote and also the right to stand for election in the DUN, in the State Legislative Assembly, also in the Parliament House. So the youth should know what they can do for the nation, and also in what capacity can they contribute their voices and ideas for the nation. And second, I think the youth senator can also voice out for the youth, especially because they are representing the youth. So to make sure that inclusive, comprehensive and holistic policies and law can be made. Because when we are making a law and policy, if we have the youth representative or the youth senator are there, so the youth senator can encompass and also to include the interests and the rights of all groups of people. For example, adults, we have youth, children, women, students, persons with disability, and also aborigine. So I think youth should be represented by a youth senator so that the policy can be more friendly to all the segments in the society. And not to forget, a youth senator should also be actively engaged with the youth to know more about what is their concern, their opinions, and also their ideas, so they can formally include in the policy paper and also include in the law, so to be debated in the parliament. And also, most importantly, is to be the representative of the youth and always be the voices of the youth, so to ensure that the voices of the youth should always be highly regarded, respected, embraced, and also to be applied in the policy and also national laws.
So what you mentioned just now, mostly there are key qualities of our future youth senator, right?
Yeah.
There we go. And really quickly, Mr. Lim, how would you categorize youth? Age what to what?
Okay. So for me, if I would like to categorize youth, I would think that it would be from 15 to 40.
Yeah.
Because this is our previous age in the Youth Development Act of Malaysia. But after a recent amendment in 2019, the youth is categorized at 15 to 30. So I think, for me, I think youth should be any age as long as we are mentally and also physically fit and young. So this is important. But for age-wise, I would think 15 until 30 is a good recent amendment to the law. So I welcome the decision and also amendment to the law.
Right, there we go. So yes, if you want to ask any of your questions, we are on Facebook Live right now. We'll be taking a short break. You can follow us at Tracks FM Official. Coming back, we'll talk more about some of the ways that youth can change the environment. So stay tuned.
Tracks FM. On the radio. And on the net. Playing your favorite music 24/7. This is Tracks FM.
Be inspired, informed, and up to date. Tune in to Tracks Momentum interview feature of the day at 11:15 a.m. Join us as we speak to our panel of guests on various topics. Health on Tracks on Monday. Tuesday, Spectrum. Wednesday, What Matters? Face to face with our guests on Thursdays. And on Friday, tune in to W Talk. Tracks Momentum, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Only on Tracks FM.
Direct to your home, in the car, or at work with 50,000 watts of power and no satellite dish required.
11:28 a.m. on the clock. This is Tracks Momentum, and if you're just tuning in right now, we are having the Spectrum on Tracks interview. We are talking to Mr. Lim Shien, the president of Young Leaders, government varsity leadership icon, and we're talking about the voice of future. So, what are some ways that the youth can change the environment? Because you mentioned a little bit earlier on just now that some of the ways that youth can make their voices be heard or something like that. So what are some ways that the youth can change the environment around them so that it would be more conducive to the betterment of the community in the whole?
Okay, first of all, I think how the youth can change the environment is that to make the environment to be more conducive, that youth should be active in sharing their comments and thoughts from the perspective of the youth. So this is to using their freedom of speech, which is under the Constitution, also Article 10. So as we know that, let's say in the newspaper column or something, so mostly you can see that the columns or articles are written by adults or even some experienced journalists or even like experienced columnists. So I would like to suggest to youth should be more proactive. Maybe they can share the articles, their op-ed, their pieces of writing with the media, or they can start from their blog spot, or they can share on their social media, for example, Facebook, Instagram, talk about current issue from the youth perspective, right? So people can understand what actually youth want and also what can the youth contribute to the society. So this is the first thing. The youth can share their comments.
Like opinions and stuff like that.
Yes, opinion pieces. So second of all, I think youth can involve actively in policy formulation. So this can start from the campus. For example, they can partake in the campus election committee. They can partake in the voting of the campus to choose the student leader. They can partake in student activities, and also in UM we have the student parliament, or we call it the Parliament Mahasiswa. So this is the platform for youth to discuss about policy formulation, to discuss about student welfare, academic life, co-curricular, and also maybe about student bodies activities, right? So I think this is a good way for youth to gain some exposure. And also some university, they even apply the Mahasiswa or the varsity student to become the senate of their university. So this is also can be included in part of the university agenda to involve youth as the observer, or their student as one of the participants in the Senate meeting of the university, so they can gain more exposure and experience along the way, so they can be more mature in their way of thinking and also to sharing ideas. And third, how the youth can change the environment is that the youth should be actively engaged with the relevant stakeholders, for example, with the Ministry of Youth and Sport, with the Youth Council or something, so they can listen to more ideas and suggestions of how they can navigate their way in youth empowerment and youth leadership, and what they can collaborate to do more and achieve more for the youth. Because you know that leaders produce more leaders, and I think it's important for us to work as a team, which is to gather all the workforce and also collaboration between the youth society and also the relevant stakeholders, so that we can work together and consolidate our efforts and ideas for the betterment of the nation. So this is how the youth can change the environment. And not to forget, the youth should also set a good example. Let's say they should have the integrity, responsibility, good values, and also always be aware of themselves, how they can contribute to the society, and so they should encourage their friends and family to be a concerned citizen, to care about the social issue, the current issue, and also to actively, as I say, contribute to the nation in our own capacity. So this is what the youth can do to change the environment to become more conducive.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is completely, not to say off topic, but it's my personal question to you. I mean, as the president of Young Leaders, in obviously, what kind of complaints, or not complaints, opinions do you get the most from students or youth, your university, your classmate, your fellow students and stuff like that? What kind of issues do they raise up the most? Because you mentioned current issues and like what students are facing. So what are, top of your head, what's the most big thing that's being talked by students or youth nowadays?
Okay, talking about student issue, the concern I hear the most would be the student welfare. For example, the food price, for example, the course registration. So the students hope to expedite the course registration issue,
right,
so they can register their course easily. And also about the for the student bodies, for the allocation for student body to organize activities, and also not to forget academic issues. So the youth get to get more exposure by hearing from the experienced people in the industry. So, for example, industry player in their respective faculty and respective field of study, so they can gain more knowledge about their future,
right,
future-proof their career. So, I think this is the concern by the youth and also by students, how they can be more ready for the future, right? The readiness of the youth. So it's one of the issues that we can relate to the employment issue. So I think this Naya is doing good because we have a lot of initiatives, for example, food bank. We have the talk show by inviting industry players to give a talk so they can get to know more about the industry and also to be ready for the industry, and also, the future will be more challenging. But I think UM has a lot of platforms, especially we are really open for the students to voice out about the policy and also to contribute to the university in any capacity. For example, in student bodies, we have a lot of college projects, university projects, and also students are free to organize activity so long as it's approved by the university and also the management of the university. So this is what the university and the youth should be taking more attention to. Prepare the youth for the future.
Right. And you mentioned platforms, certain platforms. So as the youth of today, how can they put forward their voices in a way that would make a difference? Because I'm not just talking about right? Like, are there certain platforms that youth can, talk about their opinions besides Blogspot and how, like Instagram, Facebook and social media? What are the other kind of certain platforms that youths can get together and discuss about, opinions and stuff that's happening in university, in schools and stuff like that? How can they put their voices forward?
Yeah, aside from social media, etc., I think first of all, this is what I always do, and I will encourage you to do more, is that you should contribute your ideas and put it out in writing form, which is articles. So you can publish in the opinion segment or the commentary pieces in the newspaper. Second is that you can also engage with media platforms so that you can share your ideas. And third is that you can organize impactful activities, for example, academic forum, academic discussion, or like a talk show, a workshop with other youth organizations. Or this is to enable youth to actively partake and also to organize activity so that the youth can exchange their idea, they can expound on certain topics, for example, youth empowerment, about employment issue, about climate change, etc. And fourth is that I think that another important platform is that youth can involve is that in nation building, particularly with the executive and also judiciary, is the internship. Because we know that our nation, we have the Perdana Fellow and also the Corporate Fellow, right? So this is a platform that youth can actually get in touch with the executive branch and also to suggest to them what the policy that the youth is suggesting and what is the ideal policy by having a policy paper, because this is their task also. And another one is the engagement session and also like a tower session,
right,
which is organized by all the relevant agencies whenever they want to do a certain announcement or important decision. So I think youth should be aware of what is the opportunities And also, another one is that you should identify the need for the betterment in the nation. For example, which field, which area. So they should identify which area first, and then they should realize their own potential, which is that they should have the self-awareness value. And after that, they should put in their best effort, maybe to consolidate with their idea with their friends in order to transform their ideas into realization. So these are a few platforms that I would suggest the youth to utilize it in order to make sure that their potential can be maximized and also their voices can be heard.
There we go. So coming back, we will be talking more about youth empowerment. You can leave your comments or any questions. We're on Facebook Live right now at Tracks FM Official. But coming back, like I mentioned, we will be talking about ways the youth can add value to themselves, youth empowerment, and so on. So stay tuned.
On air, online, Tracks FM. Starts now. Tracks FM.
11:40 a.m. on the clock right now, and of course we are doing the Spectrum on Tracks. And if you're just tuning in, on the 16th of July, basically just recent, our Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has said that a youth leader will be appointed as a Dewan Negara Senator. So we're talking about that now, and if you've missed all of that, you can head on over to our Facebook page at Tracks FM Official and check out our interview. But right now we're talking about youth empowerment. But before that, what can be some ways that the youth can add value to themselves on top of their education, especially because everything is so competitive now? Because like you mentioned just now, Mr. Lim, you said youth can give their opinions on forums, on website. But what can be some of the other ways that the youth can add value to themselves?
Okay. First of all, the youth can add value to themselves by possessing soft skills. I think this is important, especially in this era. Everything is so fast changing, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, for example, the soft skills are, for example, leadership qualities, effective communication, time management, and also critical thinking, problem-solving skills. So I think the youth should align their soft skills with the national aspiration and national agenda. For example, in the national youth policy, for example, approachable. For example, inclines toward technology. So youth should be aware of the policy and also align their soft skills with the existing policy. Second, I think the youth can add value to themselves by having relevant working experience or internship. So this can, of course, can make them more mature and also to expose to the working environment even before they step up from their university environment. Third is that I think youth should be more active in getting life experience. For example, volunteerism, community service, youth leadership. So this life experience, especially in this activity, right, can actually teach us one to be more compassionate and understanding about the society and also the current issue. For example, by volunteering yourself in, let's say, a soup kitchen, so you can see what is the concern of the people when you go to the ground. Okay, when you turun padang. So this is the important thing, I think. And another one is that you should, of course, have a good knowledge and understanding about their cause. So they should read more, and also they should translate their knowledge into practical use. And also not just confined to their own field of study, but they should actively understand and learn from the other fields. For example, if they are taking law, they should learn about medical. Maybe they should learn about engineering, so they can relate everything together, and they can be more holistic in terms of their knowledge. And also you should, of course, be ready for any challenges, embrace the future, and also always be ready and steady by knowing their strength, and also to maximize their potential by becoming self-aware, and also to, of course, most importantly in this day, we should take care of our health, because our health is also one of the most important values that we can add to our own, because with a healthy and balanced lifestyle, we can live longer and happier. So that's the suggestion for me.
Yeah, I quite like. It's very interesting that you say soft skills, because some youths nowadays they're discovering that a little bit late, but never mind, because it's never too late to learn soft skills, right? I quite like the fact that you mention soft skills like time management, leadership qualities. So do you see that a lot in your environment, like over in UM or like youth you as the president of UM Young Leaders? Do you see that a lot, like people taking the initiative to learn these soft skills?
Yes, I think there's a lot because we have a lot of activities. And also I think in this day, more of the youth are really proactive and they even volunteer themselves to be leaders in a project, let's say to guide their peers in a project or in the university activities. So I think the youth are, they are voicing out more about current issue and also they are becoming more concerned about what they can contribute to the society because youth are actually important stakeholders, as I always advocate for in the society. Right. So yeah, in my environment, there are definitely a lot of youth leaders who are, active in their class, in their campus, in the society, and even bring Malaysian name to the world by participating in international competition, conferences, etc.
Right, there we go. So what are your hopes for youth empowerment in Malaysia? Because obviously not all like universities or school environments are kind of like as what you are in, right? So some schools still need awareness of these soft skills or like anything that you just mentioned just now. So what are your hopes for youth empowerment in Malaysia?
Yeah, actually I have a lot, but I'll just summarize it. First, I would like to call upon the government to consider to appointing more youth of high calibers and high leadership qualities from the professional groups and also some those professional groups and also those youth who are active and achieve distinguished and remarkable achievements and render good services, let's say in NGO, youth society and association, to be considered to be appointed as a youth in the future. So maybe you can witness more senators from a group of youth. So this is the first suggestion. But of course, not just confined to senators. Hopefully they can be given a chance to be stand as the member of the parliament. Okay. Aside from this, actually I would like to draw the attention of all the listeners of Trax FM to one of these interesting groups known as the All-Party Parliamentary Group of Malaysia. It's called APPG. So this is actually a group under the parliament. So this is a platform for the people and also for those NGO and society to engage with the member of parliament, in which the APPG will be consisting of the members of the public and also the government and opposition MPs and senators to discuss about common interests. So I can share with the listener now. The APPG, All-Party Parliamentary Group that we have in the parliament now are SDG, Policy on Refugees, Prisons and Detention Center Reforms, Urban Poverty and B40 Committee, and the last is the political financing. So I'd like to call upon more MPs and also the youth out there and the association to establish perhaps a youth APPG so we can discuss more issues related to youth. Okay, so this is one of the ways to recognize and also to include youth to become one of the members of the APPG by having a youth APPG. So this is one of the suggestions that have been close to my heart because we're having so many APPG, but why not exist one youth APPG? Third one is that we should educate and promote awareness of the public starting from campus and also students and youth, because you know that now the youth can be voting and also stand an election at the age of 18. So this is important for them to realize what is the roles and what is the importance of the parliament, because Malaysia is practicing a parliamentary democracy. So we should start to have more campus elections fully run by the students, and also we should have more academic discussion. We have the forum to gauge the idea and to discuss the ideas and gather the views of the public, and also policies matter. So this is important. And also not to forget the federal and state and even the local government should be actively engaged with the youth to ensure the youth-friendly facilities. For example, we have more youth development center, youth entrepreneur hub, maybe youth sport academy, and also youth complex to ensure that youth can be mentally and physically developed to become a holistic youth leader. And also we should give a greater roles and responsibility to the youth. For example, we should emphasize on youth voices by starting from our own society. Let's say in UST, we should have more youth in the Parliament Mahasiswa, the parliament of the campus itself, and also to engage more with the youth when making a decision or even to formulate a policy or to make a law. For example, like law on let's say sexual harassment. So we should know from the youth what is happening in the campus and also how we can tackle the issue. So this is important. So these are my suggestions for all to ponder upon. Thank you.
Right, there we go. So we have come to the end of the Spectrum interview for today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, and thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. There we go. We've been talking to Mr. Lim San Shien, the president of Young Leaders Government Varsity Leadership Icon. If you have missed out the interview, we have basically been talking about the voice of the future because recently our Prime Minister announced that there will be a youth senator appointed. So if you want to check us out, just head on over to Facebook at Trax FM Official. Got the news coming up at 12. Be back after that.
We will be back next week for more topics, issues, tips, and insights. Spectrum, youth, arts, culture. Only on Trax FM.